I still remember the exact moment my career almost ended. Over 100 people were on the call, managers, executives, engineers from all over the world. And one man calmly told everyone that I caused a disaster that could cost the company millions. My stomach dropped, because I knew exactly what he was doing. He was lying, and the worst part? Everyone believed him, but what he didn't know was that a few weeks later, one secret recording would expose everything. And the fallout was something I still think about years later. When I first joined the company, I was honestly thrilled. I worked in software support for a massive technology company, and our team was spread across multiple countries. The UK, the US, Europe, around 30 engineers in total. Most of them were great people, friendly, supportive, always willing to help. Except for one person, Shane. Now Shane wasn't just another coworker. He was what everyone called the guru. He'd been at the company for almost 40 years. If something broke in a weird way, people said, "Ask Shane." If a system behaved strangely, people said, "Shane probably knows." He had this legendary reputation inside the company. And when I first started, I'll admit, he actually lived up to it. Whenever I ran into strange issues, he usually had an answer. But over time, something started to change. Not in the systems, in him. The shift. About 2 years after I joined, the company decided to move in a completely new technological direction. New software, new platforms, new tools, and honestly, I loved it, because suddenly, everyone was starting from scratch. Even the legends. I threw myself into learning everything about the new systems. Late nights reading documentation, testing things in sandbox environments, breaking things, fixing them, learning. Slowly but surely, something interesting happened. When teammates had problems with the new software, they started asking me, "Hey, can you check this error? Do you know why this service failed? Can you help me with this deployment?" Little by little, I became the go-to person for the new platform. And that's when Shane started treating me differently. The passive-aggressive war. At first it was small things. Tiny jabs in meetings. If I joined a call late because a customer issue ran long, Shane would interrupt and say something like, "Oh look, she finally decided to show up." People would chuckle awkwardly, but I noticed something. He never did that to anyone else. Then it spread to emails. Anytime I included him in a conversation with management, he'd reply with some sarcastic criticism, usually unrelated to the actual topic. It was subtle, but it was constant, like he was slowly trying to undermine my credibility. Eventually my friend Mel called me one afternoon. Mel was one of the most experienced engineers on the team, and honestly one of the smartest people I'd ever worked with. She asked me something that caught me completely off guard. "What did you do to Shane?" I blinked. "Nothing," I said. "Why?" She sighed. "Because he talks about you, a lot." That was the moment I realized something deeper was going on. But I still had no idea how far he'd go. The incident that changed everything. Then one morning, everything exploded. A major outage hit one of our core systems. Customers couldn't access services, critical systems were failing, and if we didn't fix it quickly, the company could face millions in penalties. Within minutes, the emergency bridge call had over 100 people on it. Engineers, managers, senior executives. Our manager divided the troubleshooting tasks and paired people together. And of course, I got paired with Shane. I wasn't thrilled, but I stayed professional. We jumped on a side call and started digging through the system logs. And within minutes, I noticed something shocking. Shane didn't know how the new system worked. At all. Every time I asked him to check something, he hesitated. Every tool required explanation. Every command needed guidance. Finally I sighed and said, "Just watch my screen." For the next 20 minutes, I walked through everything. Logs, services, patch history. Eventually I found it. A recent patch had broken part of the system. A rollback would fix the outage. Right then, Shane suddenly dropped off the call. I didn't think much of it. Our call software was notorious for disconnecting people. So I continued documenting the fix and rejoined the main incident call. And the moment I spoke, the incident manager exploded. Apparently while I was still troubleshooting, Shane had rejoined the main call. And he told everyone something unbelievable. He said I caused the outage. He claimed I'd deployed the patch incorrectly. He told them he had warned me about the problem. But I refused to listen. My heart started pounding. I tried explaining. But Shane had 40 years of reputation behind him. To most people in that call, he was the expert. I was just another engineer. By the end of the meeting, I received a formal verbal warning. And Shane? He was congratulated for helping prevent further damage. I remember sitting there after the call ended, just staring at my screen. I'd never felt so humiliated in my life. The truth finally surfaces. A few days later, Mel called me again. Her voice sounded stunned. "You're not going to believe this." Apparently Shane had been bragging to her, laughing about how he had put me in my place. His real problem? He believed I was trying to replace him as the team expert. That's when something inside me snapped, because suddenly everything made sense, and an idea formed in my mind. A risky one. The trap. I messaged Shane privately. "Hey, can we talk?" He responded immediately. Sure, slightly smiling face. We jumped on a call. The moment it started, I accused him of lying about the outage. But I did it while Skype's recording feature was active. A notification popped up telling him the call was being recorded. Immediately he switched to corporate mode. Calm, careful, diplomatic. "I'm sorry you feel that way," he said. "Maybe we should talk to management." So I said, "Hold on." Then I turned off the Skype recording. Or at least, I made it look like I did. Because the entire time, another program was secretly recording everything. And the moment the notification disappeared, his mask slipped. He admitted everything. He said senior employees deserved respect. He said he had every right to put me in my place. He even admitted he didn't want to learn the new software because he was close to retirement. I leaned back in my chair. Then I asked him a simple question. "Have you ever heard of OBS?" Silence. "You might want to Google it," I said. Then I hung up. The fallout. Minutes later my messages started exploding. From Shane. He knew exactly what I meant. He begged me not to use the recording. Said he'd lose his retirement, his healthcare, everything. And for a moment, I hesitated. But then I remembered that meeting. The humiliation, the lies. So I sent the recording to management. An investigation began. Weeks later, Shane was terminated. No retirement package, no benefits, just gone. Balance scale climactic payoff. At first, I felt relief. Justice had been served. The truth was finally out. But months later, Mel called me again. Her voice was quiet. Shane had been in serious financial trouble. Medical issues, debt. Without his retirement package, he couldn't afford treatment. 6 months after losing his job, he died. When I heard that, I just sat there in silence. Because technically, I didn't cause it. But my actions were part of the chain of events. And that realization stays with you. Even now, years later, I still think about that situation. Shane tried to destroy my career because he felt threatened. And I exposed the truth. Maybe it was justice. Maybe it was karma. But one thing I know for sure. If a new employee ever joins my team, I will never treat them the way he treated me. Because insecurity should never turn into sabotage. And someone has to break that cycle. If this story shocked you, make sure to like the video and subscribe for more intense Reddit revenge stories. And I want to hear your opinion. Did I do the right thing exposing him? Or should I have shown mercy? Tell me in the comments. Because this story still sparks debate to this day.